Ireland's Classic Hits Radio presents A Parent's Guide to Social Media.
So to conclude the series, we're taking a look back at the topics we've covered.
I was wary about posting even for the first year of posting, of like, well, maybe I shouldn't share this. And it was when I started opening up that's when I felt that my account started to grow and I started to connect with people more, because I wasn't putting this sort of, like a fakeness maybe, or like just sort of covering it up through a lens. It was more sort of a raw, in-depth, like, look, there's good parts and there's bad parts. Today my video didn't perform and I didn't feel great about it, or I got a bad comment on it. But people come and support you then through that. So I think like being open really does help, because people can connect with you more. But also that vulnerability, it can be taken up in a wrong way.
So Be Real actually kind of exploded in 2022, and it actually is a little bit different from the other apps. The app notifies all of its users at a random time that it's time to take a photo from both your front and back camera of your phone. So it's popular with teenagers because it kind of offers an alternative from the more polished and curated content.
It's entertainment, it's educational, it's not just all kind of the next latest dancing routine. There is some real scientists, real journalists, real politicians on the platforms sharing really useful, educational and interesting content.
There are ways and means that, anybody can control the feed that appears on their social media account. Is it always effective? Absolutely not. And that's why we need these types of codes and this type of regulation coming in, because sometimes reporting content or blocking content doesn't always stop it from showing up on our feeds. It can limit it or it can reduce it, but it doesn't always necessarily completely eliminate it.
This law criminalises the sharing of or threatening to share intimate images of a person. And you know what? We're seeing a lot of advertising on the telly now as well.
I've worked in a school where a senior infant consumed hardcore extreme material.
Stop it.
Really? No, absolutely.
My daughter isn't senior infant.
Could you imagine her consuming this incredible stuff? And here's the thing, and I don't want to be too heavy here because this is such a heavy topic, but hardcore pornography today is not what it used to be. It's all about, consent taking. It's all about, it's pretty violent stuff.
It became apparent that ChatGPT was becoming a lot more popular, and what I basically did was I took all of the test transcripts of conversations between children and groomers that I had gathered over the year that I was working on the project, and I fed them to ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT with a bit of prompt engineering, what do you think? Do you think it's the groomer? Yes or no, or maybe? And once I found that ChatGPT was able to detect these conversations without being trained, I went from there and started developing a prototype.
They might compare themselves to other people or other kids and feel very much less than. There's a lot of kind of exclusion in the online world, and that's the part of the work that we're doing that I find really challenging for children as kind of participating in some way and trying to support them when they're talking about things like being excluded from certain, WhatsApp groups or private stories, and they're the kind of things I feel that are actually very harmful.
We're joined by Minister Justice Helen McEntee, and we're going to be discussing the Harassment, Harmful Communications and Related Offences Act, better known as Coco's Law.
Yeah, well look, Coco or Nicole Fox, but she was known as Coco by her family, was a young woman, and unfortunately when she was 21 she took her own life. She had been subjected to quite severe bullying in person, but also it had translated online as well.
During COVID, the number of online predators rose by 40% because all the kids went online during that time period.
The thing that set Snapchat apart from the other platforms when it first came out was the disappearing messages. And I suppose this is one of the kind of causes of concerns for parents when it first did come out, because you can send somebody a message and it disappears within 24 hours.
The smartphones they're experience blockers. And what that means is that they stop children doing other things that are probably more useful, more fulfilling and healthier for the children. So you could be learning a musical instrument, you could be outside practicing your dancing or your hurling or football or soccer or rugby or whatever it is, or you could be outside playing with your friends and talking with your friends rather than having your head buried in a phone.
Yeah. Algorithm is something that we're probably not so familiar with. So this is the term now that's being used to describe, I suppose, the toxic content, if you like, that is pushed towards, in particular, young males on their social media accounts. And sometimes it's just by the virtue of the fact that they identify as a male, and that can be a reason that the content is pushed towards them.
You mightn't get a knock on the door within 3 months of it. It might be a year later, but the knock will come, because the trace is there. It leaves a lasting trace. If it can never be got rid of. And through investigation, we were able to follow up on these accounts.
This is A Parent's Guide to Social Media. You can catch up on all the episodes, which are available as a podcast. Just search Ireland's Classic Hits Parent's Guide. This has been a Sound and Vision initiative, funded by Coimisiún na Meán, with the television licence fee.